Hello and welcome to On Watch by MarketWatch. I'm Jeremy Owens. Salesforce is one of the biggest tech companies in the world. Over 25 years, it's grown from a startup that was laughed at for insisting that software didn't need to be sold in boxes to a cloud behemoth that brought in $35 billion of revenue last year. It's one of just 30 components of the blue chip Dow Jones Industrial Average and the youngest company in that elite group. And all of this can largely be credited to one person and his vision, Marc Benioff.
I mean, I've never been more excited about Salesforce and our industry and what is happening. This is just an incredible time.
That's Benioff. He's the co-founder of Salesforce, who has served as its chief executive since the beginning. With new AI software rolling out, he agreed to sit down with me and talk about the financial effects of artificial intelligence, why he's calling his new AI software digital labor, and how he's preparing for a second Trump administration. I started by asking Benioff the question I hear the most about his company. What does Salesforce do?
What do? We help our customers connect with their customers in incredible new ways. And our customers are 135,000 companies all over the world who make all kinds of different products, from the media industry to the financial services industry to the consumer product goods industry to the government, on, and they all have customers, and they need tools to connect with those customers.
And find data about those customers.
Of course. Yeah, like that is been our business really for 25 years. And this has been a great business, managing data. And I think there is something new and something super great happening, which is a transformation of our business that we are also now we already have become a digital labor provider. So we're providing now digital labor in addition to our software.
And the form of that is agents, right? I mean, we've talked about this on the podcast. The 2025 is the year of agentic AI. And you're saying these agents are basically little workers that a worker can send out to do what they need to do.
I don't know if they're little workers or big workers. We'll have to ask them how big they are. But what I can say is that we are providing digital labor. And, this has got to be an incredible new market. I mean, it's a multi-trillion dollar market, I'm sure, because what you're seeing is that while we were helping customers, for example, manage their call centers and their contact centers and their service organizations and their field service organizations, now we're providing the service personnel that go along with it, digital ones. That is a big shift. And for a company like ours, we are really excited about this because our customers are adopting this at a rate and at a level that we've never seen with any product in our history. And we now have more than 3,000 companies that have signed revenue-based agreements with us to deliver Agentforce. Those are agreements that have, where there's revenue associated with it. And those agreements span from, probably small agreements to we've even seen 8-digit Agentforce agreements. So there is a really strong scale. And the other cool thing about it is, of course, it brings along all our other products with it. So, you need more actually of our sales cloud and our service cloud and our marketing cloud and our platform and all of those things as you move these things forward, because we're all about humans with agents creating customer success together.
And where does that land on the money scale for Salesforce? I mean, this is the big talk on Wall Street, Mark, is the monetization of AI. There are analysts who doubt that this will lead to huge new revenue for Salesforce. And I can see the argument, especially, from the customer side, Mark, when I talk to customers of yours or other enterprise software, they don't want to see their software budgets balloon by signing on to a bunch of new AI software. So what does it look like? Are they going to cut out some of their Salesforce?
Well, those are not the customers that I'm talking to, because what I see is something very different. And what I see is a new world of digital labor, and that we are talking to companies about enterprise software. And let's kind of take your premise. Well, we don't want our enterprise software budgets to balloon. Okay, that's fine. Let's keep them in this box over here. Now let's talk to you about the second box, which is digital labor. My job, I feel, is to help open the door to really say, we're all going to have an Agentforce. And I think Salesforce is probably the first company to deliver this capability at scale. And, our goal is to have 1 billion agents in place within a year. And I feel very excited that we're going to hit that goal, because I think we will have tens of thousands of companies, which is maybe, call it 10 to 20% of our customer base, using this product in production and deployed, and that there is going to be a tremendous agentic layer. And I'll tell you that I also feel that it's on me to pioneer this in my own company, which is why I've built help.salesforce.com, which you can go to, log in as a Salesforce customer. It will ground, which means connect you into the AI. We know who you are, we know your products, and the agent starts to take over and work with you. And that has been our own use of the agentic layer of Agentforce, and it has been incredible. We get about 35,000 customer inquiries every single week on help.salesforce.com. And up to this point, about 10,000 of those have to be handled by our support agents. We have about 9,000 support agents. And now, by going to Agentforce, we've cut that to 5,000. So now that Agentforce can handle, of the 36,000, 31,000 of them, and 5,000 a week are going to humans. So I actually need less support agents, and I'm rebalancing my workforce into new sales folks and new what we call sales development representatives, business development representatives, and other functions, because there's just less for the support organization to do because of what we've done already with help.salesforce.com and by delivering an agentic layer for our customers. And I think that's going to be an example for other customers to do this. And that, I think, is very cool.
I don't know if everybody would say it's cool, though, Mark. I mean, when you're talking about not competing with other enterprise software, but instead creating digital labor, human labor is going to have a little bit of a problem there.
Let's take that head on. But first, let's address your first question, which was, hey, is the enterprise software market going to grow? And I'm trying to make the case that I think enterprise software market is growing because it's the enterprise software market plus the digital labor market. And that was your first question. So now
but the digital labor market would then be competing against a human labor market, and
yes.
There's problems there, I would say.
Yes. Well, I think that this is reality, which is we are entering into a world where there is going to be an opportunity to expand the labor market. And I think right now the labor market, as you know, is very stagnant. We have declining birth rates in a lot of countries. We don't have people to hire. There aren't people to fill a lot of these positions, and it's hard to grow your business. And now it's going to be much easier to grow your business because you're going to be able to do it with digital labor. I talk to and work with CEOs and companies all over the world. There are opportunities that are appearing for these companies to grow and to expand where they just could not before. And because we provide the digital labor, they're able to go into new territories or speak languages or open opportunities that before were just not available. And this is a growth opportunity in all areas.
Yeah, and when we talk about digital labor versus human labor and what the financial effects of that, we've really seen it in Silicon Valley over the last couple of years. You and Google and a lot of other companies went through massive rounds of layoffs to shore up the bottom line. And now we're bringing in AI. And it's almost like I see tech setting an example for other sectors on what can be done. But I wonder if all those other sectors follow, are we still going to be a shortage of workers? Are there going to be a lot more workers out there after layoffs that are replaced by agents?
I think you're mixing up two things here, and I want to try to tease them apart. So I think that that's really important. So you're right. Salesforce did a layoff exactly 2 years ago, because what happened was there was this thing called the pandemic. I don't know if you heard about it, but there was this thing called the pandemic. So let me catch you up. And during the pandemic, it was really a moment for the whole tech industry where revenue just accelerated. Like, it was incredible. And all companies, Salesforce, but also even like companies like Meta and others, like in social media, everybody went on this huge hiring surge, thinking that, the pandemic is going on forever. And then the pandemic ended. And when the pandemic ended, if you look at Salesforce now versus when the pandemic started, Salesforce is going to do about 38 billion this year. But when the pandemic started, it was 20 billion. So we've almost doubled our company at scale in that period of what is now 5 years. So that is really important to kind of grok this idea that there was a moment where the whole industry was surging. We were all surging our employment, and we just went a little too quickly, and we needed to make an adjustment. So let's put that issue aside for just a second, because I think that what we're saying when we talk about digital labor is now we're really saying, oh yeah, look at, we're able to extend what we're able to do as a company. Like I am myself doing this, as I said, and I'm able to do more, grow faster, go into new places, do new things, offer new products faster because I have digital labor and human labor.
We're going to take a quick break. Coming up, the marketing of AI isn't the only thing changing in tech. We'll talk more about other changes, as well as the core issue with AI. Will it make enough money to justify high stock valuations? Stay with us. Welcome back. Before the break, we talked with Salesforce CEO Marc Benioff about his new agentic AI software, but I also wanted to discuss larger forces with him. Silicon Valley and the tech sector have seen financial, technological, and cultural change since the pandemic. Amid that change, rivalries and competitions have ramped up. Benioff has been criticizing the largest software company in the world, Microsoft.
Microsoft has been a disappointment in this area. They have delegated their whole AI strategy to OpenAI, and they just are reselling the OpenAI product as a repackaged product in the app called Copilot with a prompt, and a search field. They have not deployed, thousands of customers on the agentic layer as we have, and they're a fast follower. That's their business model. I'm sure that they will have a product and do what they can, but there's a reason why Microsoft only has a few percentage points in the CRM market after trying to follow us for 25 years, because they're distracted. They have a lot of things they're working on. I mean, over here, they're competing against Amazon. Over here, they're competing against Google. Over here, they're competing against Oracle. Like, they've got a lot that they're trying to do. But what we are singularly focused to, as I said at the beginning, we're trying to help our customers connect with their customers in new ways. And now this is a new way with digital labor to do that at this agentic layer, this idea that, and you understand this very well, which is that we make the number one service cloud in the world. We have a tremendous business with Service Cloud. And now this Service Cloud is agent first. And the Service Cloud that we're offering our customers today is all agent first Service Cloud. So not only do you have the incredible robust functionality that we had, let's say 6 months ago, which was number one in the world, but it has a huge new agentic layer also. And that is like, for our customers, yes, their heads are spinning, our heads are spinning, everybody's head should be spinning, because we just all walk through a door, which is we're moving into the agentic world. And this agentic world is a lot about dollars and cents, and it is a lot about revenue, and it is a lot about expansion of opportunity for our customers and for our whole industry, because we are entering a whole new world.
Yeah, it's funny that I hear you use that top line and talk about growth, because one thing I've noticed with your earnings calls and other things the past couple of years, Mark, is this very quick shift from talking about revenue growth a lot, talking about profit growth a lot. And that's something, again, I've seen Silicon Valley wide, big tech wide, right? I mean, Facebook and Google installing dividends. And I don't think we talk about this enough, that there's been this sea change from focusing on growth to focusing on profit in tech in Silicon Valley over the past couple of years.
Yes. So let's talk about that, because you're really doing a good job, actually, I think clarifying that there's kind of two worlds and that we all went through a door. So before we went through that door, what was happening was we're saying, well, okay, this is our product line and this is where we are, and this is our business post-pandemic. So we've really grown. So now we're going to optimize cash flow and margin. And, we're going to do almost $13 billion in cash flow this year. I can't remember the exact guidance we've given. I think it was about 12.8 billion. I'd have to refer you back to the earnings call. And, we have, 32% margins, and we're what high revenue levels. And these financial metrics are very different than where we were at the pandemic start. So let's say at the pandemic start, we were like this $20 billion company and our margins were maybe sub 20%. Now we're like in this a very different place. So there has been a transformation. And, look, the whole world is transformed during the pandemic. I think like you and I realize like the way we work, the way we live, the way we operate, the way we run our companies has changed in the last 5 years. There's no question. And the business characteristics have changed. And so these companies went through an adjustment. And like when you said about layoffs, financial metrics, let's put all that in a box, because I think that that is the box we were all living about a year ago. And when we looked at AI and generative AI, it was still in that box. Now I'm trying to make a case that there's a new box and that we're kind of moving from, okay, here we are. And now we're also like moving now into this new world. And these two worlds, we need to tease apart a little bit. And I can understand how you can kind of merge them together, but they're very different things. And I think, look, as a CEO of a company who's kind of trying to lead our company through all these things, some of these things are exciting. Some of them are surprises, but I think we were managing in one direction and we were going through, I think, a financial transformation post-pandemic. And now you can see we're going through, correctly, as you said, a growth transformation with this new product category.
And how should the average investor kind of ingest that, Mark? Because like what I've always seen is, there's growth stocks that are growing revenue and growing the share price. And then there's value stocks that are growing the profits and sharing those profits. And now we've seen kind of a switch from Silicon Valley from one to the other. Should investors be acting differently? Should investors be treating big tech companies in Silicon Valley differently because of that?
You said that perfectly. We went through a company where we went through a financial transformation. So we have new financial characteristics that we can value our company based on what our cash flow is, what our profitability is, what our revenue is. And we can also look at what our growth prospects are, new products and new TAMs. And so these are the two worlds. And you're right. If one can be a value world like that world, and the second world can be a growth world. And when companies start to have both of these characteristics, that's when they can accelerate. And look, a job of a tech CEO is to get into both of those worlds. You want to have great financial characteristics and you want to have clear growth prospects. And you want to be able to do both and bring them together. And this is the hard part of being a tech CEO, certainly at scale. Like, at our size and our scale, I was excited that we were just going through this incredible financial transformation. And we were excited to talk about 1,000 basis points of margin improvement. Now what's exciting is to say, wait a minute, oh, something just happened. And we're delivering this incredible new product line and technology has radically changed. And what has happened is we've been able to do something that we could not do before. And that is what is exciting. And that's why we're squarely in this agentic world and heading towards this, robotic world, in some point in the future as well.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you walking through like the financial and technological changes that we're seeing at this point. Before I let you go, I do want to bring up cultural shift. We've seen a lot of tech execs reach out to Donald Trump as he's about to come into office, offer more to his inauguration fund than they did for Biden or for the first Trump, and really reach out and chat with him, go to Mar-a-Lago, talk. Now, you've said that Salesforce is not donating to the inauguration fund, but have you reached out? Have you had a phone call with Donald Trump? And what do you feel is behind this cultural shift in tech at this point in time?
Well, let me say it a couple different ways. First, I've been the CEO of Salesforce for 25 years, and I've worked with a lot of presidents very successfully, including Donald Trump. And presidents change, administrations change. We don't change. We're the same company. We're the same core values. You know that. You could probably give a lot of the Dreamforce keynote yourself. It doesn't change.
But do you jump on those values as much, Mark? I mean, you made big news by threatening to pull out of Indiana when they were instituting a trans bathroom law. Do you feel like you can do that now? Are you going to make those stands anymore?
Of course. And I'll tell you that we are the same company. I'm the same CEO. And yes, I still feel like I can do everything that I've done, which is number one is we always have our employees back. And like the case that you're making is what happened in Indiana, where at the time, Mike Pence, who was a very, good friend of mine, actually, signed a law that I did not agree with. And I said, Mike, you're going to cause us to disinvest from Indiana. Why that's significant is, that we're the largest tech employer in San Francisco. We're the largest employer in San Francisco, actually. But you may not know we're the largest tech employer in Indiana. And so I'm like, Mike, we can't do this. And it turned into kind of a little bit of a heat storm. 200 companies took our side, but it only lasted for 2 or 3 days. And Mike changed the law. And we negotiated with him, and that really reflects the relationship that we had with Mike, and how things should work. And so, yes, we'll always have our employees back. That's extremely important. Look, we work in a lot of countries and a lot of states and a lot of cities. So there's a lot of politicians that we have to work with. When our employees have a problem and they call me, and it's happening every day, and they're not happy with something that's going on in their, jurisdiction, because there's something they don't agree with. Look, I'll say, look, I can't do everything for you. And there's a lot of things I can't do politically. I'll try. But what I can do is, if you don't like where you are, hey, it's a big world and Salesforce is a big company. I'll move you. So I've moved more than 300 employees who are just unhappy with whatever political environment they're in anywhere in the world. And I'll just hit a button and move them somewhere else.
Does that include out of California? Have you moved people who are unhappy with California out?
Absolutely. We've moved people wherever they want to go, they can move. That's a great thing about being an employee at Salesforce is our values are, what are our values? Trust, customer success, innovation, equality, sustainability. These are our 5 core values, and we're aligned with those 5 values. Those are the kind of people we want to have in our company. And once you're aligned with us and you're a successful employee, we're going to do whatever we can to help you and support you.
And do you feel you have an open line of communication with Donald Trump? Have you spoken to him?
I have a good line of communication with Donald Trump, the Trump administration. You may know we just made him Person of the Year. He was very excited about that. That's a recognition of the huge influence that he's had. I think he's now been on the cover of Time magazine almost 40 times, maybe more than 40 times.
I want to jump in here and note that Marc Benioff has been the owner of Time magazine since 2018.
And this, I think, was a huge moment for him that he has been reelected as president of the United States. And, I congratulated him, and I feel like, of course, I'm going to do whatever I can to support the president of the United States and our country and do whatever's necessary to make us successful.
That was an edited version of our conversation, but you can watch the full interview on MarketWatch's YouTube page. I find the massive cultural, financial, and technological changes that are occurring right now in Silicon Valley fascinating, and getting the chance to talk to Marc Benioff about them was a true pleasure. But I came away still doubting that we are going to see huge revenue gains this year as a result of AI. Instead, it's still looking like a way to increase profit, which fits right into the financial changes I've been following for years. Now, I could be wrong on that. Marc certainly disagreed with me at times. But I look forward to following these changes and telling you more about them, and hopefully having Benioff back on in the future to follow up. And that's it for this episode. To keep following the latest financial news, head to MarketWatch.com. Have questions about the news and the economy? We want to hear them. You can reach us at onwatch@MarketWatch.com. You can subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, and please do. If you like what you heard, please leave us a rating or review. It really helps others discover the show. The show is hosted by me, Jeremy Owens, and produced by Alexis Moore. Isaac Gaines mixed this episode. Melissa Haggerty is the executive producer. We'll be back next week with a new episode, and until then, we'll be watching.